Happy St. Patrick's Day! So today we are going to be showing you how to make Blarney Stones. It is March. You know the day? 17th.
March 17th.
2020.
2020.
And we are on spring break, but we are also dealing with the awesome coronavirus. And so we are trying to make the best of it, right? And anyway, so we're going to show you how to make Blarney Stones. So if you don't know what Blarney's, I think we'll be okay. Grace, Elizabeth, I don't think we need to do that. So really quickly, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Caroline.
And tell them how old you are.
5.
Okay, and this is Grace.
She is 1 and nothing.
And she's your little sister.
And she's my little sister.
And you love her very much, and she drives you crazy too.
Yes. Bye.
Let's see the sugar in the bowl. So we'll see how this goes, because Caroline and I are used to baking a lot, but Grace hasn't got to do that as much with us.
No, and she messes. And she makes big messes.
She does make big messes. So if you don't know what a Blarney Stone is, it's basically a sponge cake that has been rolled into
Peanuts?
icing and peanuts. Yes. And so typically it's a square, but it doesn't have to be, because you just put it into a pan and you cut it. And that's what makes it have this square. Blarney Stones have been something that's really popular in my husband's family for a long time. The recipe that I actually use is Granny Box Blarney Stone recipe, and that would be my husband's great grandmother. And so she's really famous for always making these on St. Patrick's Day or for St. Patrick's Day. And I have tried to carry on that tradition of making Blarney Stones, and they are a delicious little sweet and a delicious little cake.
But I've never tried them before, so this is my first time.
You tried them.
I haven't.
Yeah, you like them a lot.
No. I have not even tried them.
As you can tell, even 1-year-olds love to make
A mess.
I was going to say bake. Even 1-year-olds love to bake. They love to get their hands dirty and play with cups. So if you are also stuck with the coronavirus, you're stuck in your house because of the coronavirus or because it's rainy all day. I literally feel like I'm in Ireland today because it's like rainy and dreary and foggy. It's been a really weird spring day.
We get to make brownies.
Yes, but if you are stuck, what's a good thing to do if you're stuck?
Stay home.
And what else though? What can we do?
Make wines.
Yes, and bake. We can bake things, do fun things like that.
Chocolate cake, cheesecake, yummy things.
Yes. Okay, so Caroline just put her hands on her face. So typically if we were making this for someone else, I'd be like, go wash your hands right now. But we've already washed our hands several times, haven't we, with soap and water. How many seconds should we wash our hands?
Singing happy birthday.
Sing happy birthday, that's right. And what else do we need to make sure we do when we're singing happy birthday? What do we have to use with the water?
Soap.
Yeah, we got to use our soap. So guys, this is not just coronavirus talk.
No.
Every time you bake or cook, you need to be washing your hands for 20 seconds, singing happy birthday. Now, if you're still watching this, you're gonna go wash them again. Okay, so if you are still watching this video after our little spill of getting things started, we're gonna go ahead and get started on the Blarney Stones. You can hear Caroline's washing her hands in the kitchen. So what I have already, maybe, we'll see what's in here. I know Grace was having fun playing, but I have a 1/2 cup of sugar that's already in my bowl. And then I'm going to add eggs. Like I said, the recipe I'm using is Granny Box Blarney Stones. It's in our cookbook that my husband and I, when we got married, that was the gift that we gave to all of our guests, was a cookbook. My mother-in-law worked diligently to put this together of all of our cherished recipes. We're gonna have to do an anniversary edition because this is the cookbook that I use for everything. So we're making Granny Box Blarney Stones. I'll post the recipe of this also. So first thing, Grace.
Come
here, babe. Let's have I need your cup. Okay. So first thing, also, you might notice that we do have our hair up. Caroline wanted to wear an apron. I told her she looked too cute to put an apron on today, and me too. So we're just gonna go with it, okay? If we get flour all over us like Grace.
Yeah,
Grace,
it's okay.
are you gonna bake with us?
Sister Elizabeth, no.
No, are you finished? Are you finished? All right, so like I said, I already have a 1/2 cup of sugar in this bowl, and she's coming around to this side. We're going to be beating the egg.
Beep, 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 beep.
First, we're going to beat the egg.
Beep, beep,
Okay,
beep.
Caroline, would you like to crack this egg, or do you want me to do it? Okay, so Caroline's going to crack the egg, and when you are cracking your eggs, when you have eggs in your recipe, you need to make sure that you use a separate bowl, especially with kids, because what's pretty typical when you have...
Shell on my finger.
Yep, that's pretty typical, especially when you're baking with kids. You're going to get... Can I have it? Don't squeeze it. Come here, let's crack it. Pretty typical when you're baking with kids.
I'll be right back.
They're going to have shells in there when they crack it. So we always want to use a separate bowl when we are cracking. Like I said, Grace has never baked with us before, so I knew that this video might be a little interesting. Okay, so we've got 1 egg that's going to go in the sugar. Another reason that you want to use a separate bowl when you are cracking eggs is because eggs can sometimes have blood in them. I mean, they are a natural product. They do come from a chicken. And so, no, I'm afraid that Caroline was about to tell you what my husband calls eggs. Anyways, so you always want to make sure that you use a separate bowl. Now, again, eggs...
Until my chickens will lay eggs.
And
no.
Eggs can harbor...
She took my spot.
Eggs can harbor a lot of
You
bacteria.
took my spot. She took my spot.
Grace?
Go.
Grace, stop. Scoot over. Scoot over. Okay. Now, eggs can harbor a lot of bacteria. So you want to make sure that you do wash your hands after you
touch an egg.
Okay, I'm going to let Caroline blend this. Now, when you're baking with kids, we've got our beaters going on, got electricity going on. So go ahead and start. It's going to get loud for a second. Make sure they keep their hands out of the bowl, away from the beaters, because even though I don't think you could lose a finger on this type of beater, it would probably not feel very good. So we're going to beat that 1/2 cup of sugar in the egg. Okay. And then we're going to add, keep going. We're going to add in, keep beating it. Now. Almost finished. Okay, let's turn that off. Now we're going to add the boiling cup of water. We have a 1/2 cup of boiling water. I'm going to stir that in. And I don't know if you can see, but it's going to get bubbly and frothy. Alright, turn that off. Okay.
That hurts my wrist.
So,
No, it's cold.
now we're going to add the other 1/2 cup of sugar. So it has a full cup of sugar in it. We're going to take this and we're going to stir and mix. Whoops.
Yeah.
So what's funny is be really careful, just like I did. Be very careful when you are stirring, not to slosh it out of your bowl. Another thing, I'm using a glass bowl so that you can see it better. But another thing is you want to make sure when you're using a glass bowl that you're not tapping hard on your glass bowl or you're going to crack your whole bowl while you're cooking, because then you get to start over and then you might not have all the ingredients and you're just out of luck. But we're talking about luck today, right? Because it's St. Patrick's Day. Okay, so now Caroline, I want you to show them how we are going to measure our flour. Okay. We're using cake flour today, Grace. Let's go and put that in the sink. We're using cake flour today. Now, what is the difference? By the way, I don't suggest cooking with this scarf. Martha Stewart would probably disagree and be like, sure you can. But because it hangs in your food. Yeah, go ahead. And so we're using cake flour today. The biggest difference between cake flour and all-purpose flour is that you are going to be dealing with you're going to be dealing with a finer flour.
Okay. I don't know what to say, but when you're measuring flour, you gotta make sure it does not get out of the measuring cup. Or whatever it's called.
Caroline, you might explain to them how you measure flour correctly.
I don't know how.
Yeah, tell them how you're doing it.
I'm just putting the spoon into the cake flour and then putting it into the measuring cup.
Why aren't you just dumping it all into the measuring cup?
Because it will make a big mess.
There's another reason, right?
And because it'll get too full.
And is there something else we talked about earlier?
No.
Will it pack your flour?
Don't pack your flour. So I did that. I made a mistake last time.
So what she is doing, and she just doesn't quite know how to explain it, is she is doing small spoonfuls of flour into the cup. We do have before Grace made a nice little mess, we had it pretty well clean of the flour over the wax paper. But she's going to do small spoonfuls over the cup, or into the cup, so that she doesn't pack flour. Because if you just take your cup and you scoop into that flour, you're going to have a lot of packed flour. You're going to have more flour than you actually need.
You can't get it back open.
Unlike brown sugar, brown sugar is one that you obviously want to be packing. Sugar, it's not going to make any difference because of the texture of sugar. Okay, I think you're almost good on that. And then I want you to show them what you're going to do with that knife. How are you gonna take that knife? Nope. Flip it this way. Good. So again, you don't want to pack the flour, so you lightly put some spoonfuls in there into your cup. And now you're going to take the flat side of a knife or some type of flat utensil. Yep, good.
Now what?
Okay, now we are ready to put that into the mixture. Awesome. And then,
Now mix?
not quite. We have one more thing to add.
Oh,
and then you
fine.
can mix it. Okay,
Oh,
we're going to be using our baking powder today. And let's see. We're going to be needing a teaspoon of our baking powder. Now, baking powder is great, and so is baking soda for that matter, because it makes it very easy that you have that lip right there to just measure that perfectly. We're using 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now you're gonna put right there into the flour. Now, baking powder and baking soda, what's cool about baking in general is that it's actually a chemical reaction. And so baking powder is what is going to create the chemical reaction in your cake that you're making for your cake that you're going to make for the Blarney Stone. And so once you always want to mix your baking powder or baking soda or whatever is going to be causing that chemical reaction, you want to mix that last, because you're going to have that chemical reaction and it's going to be able to allow your food to rise or to have the texture that you want. You know, a lot of times if you make cookies and you forget to add your baking soda or your baking powder, what happens is they don't rise, they just are flat and they look disgusting and nasty and they don't taste good either. But it's because you forgot that chemical that causes the chemical reaction, because when it touches anything liquid, it's going to start the chemical reaction. Good job, get that all mixed in there. So again, this has been really easy. We've had a 1/2 cup of sugar, we added 2 eggs, we beat the eggs with the sugar, and we added the other 1/2 cup of sugar. We've added 1 cup of cake flour, and what else do we add? And then a teaspoon of baking powder.
And
so
then we
simple,
mixed it.
Yep, simple ingredients. If you
Which I'm
don't,
doing it right now.
if you don't have cake flour, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, just go to the store and buy some.
Well, you could go to the store and buy some. If you're afraid to get out and go to the store because you don't have cake flour, you can use all-purpose flour. It's not going to make too much of a difference. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to show this batter. Very foamy, very frothy, and that's what's going to give that sponge cake finish that we want in a Blarney Stone. That really spongy, heavy, dense kind of cake. So anyways, okay, I think we have this all stirred together. Now normally I'm at my mom's house because we are remodeling our house.
And we sold our old house. So.
Yep, that's right. So we're living with Mimi and Pop, or Boppy. Boppy Pop.
Mimi, Pop, Bop.
And anyways, and so I'm using all of her things. But typically I have a square pan that I like to use when I'm making Blarney Stones. But I've got my 9x13 pans and they are greased. I'm going to pour that into here. And then I'm going to put them in the oven for 20 minutes at 350 degrees. Once that cools, we'll be rolling them in frosting and peanuts. But we got to bake it first. So we'll get right back to you as soon as we're finished with the baking of the cake. We'll fill you in on how to do the dipping and roll it in the peanuts. Now, did you want to add one thing?
Maybe.
What?
And also, on Friday was my half birthday.
Oh, that's true. Yes. Friday, she turned 5.5. Yes, and we went to the Pioneer Woman.
And on the 19th, which is Grace's, my little sister's half birthday.
Yep, so she'll be 18 months. And then what's on Friday?
Mommy's birthday.
I'll be 33, right? Yay. So, anyways, lots of celebrations, lots of fun things going on. We love to bake things. We're trying to keep a very positive attitude.
Oh, and my aunt's birthday was on
the 9th, was it?
The 9th.
Yeah. So anyways, we're going to pop this in the oven and then we'll show you how we're going to ice them and put peanuts on them.